Chelsea Janes covers the Washington Nationals for the Washington Post, kind enough to join us on short notice. Chelsea, good morning. Are the Nationals buyers or sellers at the trade deadline?
I think it's TBD. It's crazy to think that that would be a question you'd be asking, but it's fair and it's reasonable, and I think they're asking it themselves. I think, this weekend will have a lot to do with it, but for now, I think they're, holding pat. And I really don't see them making many buys. I think the choice they have to make is whether they kind of wait it out or start sending pieces away.
And I know that it was thrown out there and the Nationals responded, but is there a scenario where they would entertain trading Bryce Harper? What are your thoughts on that?
It would have to be extreme. I think that, they'd have to really see these next 3 days go horribly for them and think there's really no way they come back into it. Just they're good baseball people in that front office, so you don't have to think about it, right? You can't look at his lost season and say we're not going to get anything for Bryce. But, they're going to get a draft pick anyway. I think the loyalty is such that they don't want this to end that way. They put so much effort into building a positive relationship with Bryce. They roll out the red carpet. They sort of don't get in his way, don't step on his toes. It's a very, touchy subject around them. You just kind of let Bryce be Bryce. So I'd be really stunned if it came to that. But I'm stunned that they're in a position where we're even wondering if anybody's going to be gone soon.
But you have, I think, 10 free agents in the offseason, Chelsea. So, this is really an important end of the season and offseason for the Nationals. Scherzer is, 33? We don't know what Strasburg, what his future is. So, this is one of those crossroads moments here. Do you see that way for the Nationals?
I do. I see it a little differently than a lot of people who tend to think that it's sort of, this is it. This is the chance. I think that they could get better next year. They're going to clear $80 million in payroll, and even if Bryce doesn't come back, you can put that money into multiple players instead of just one. So I think there's scenarios where they're just as good, if not better, next year. But when you look at what the talent they have coming back and, the pitching talent in Scherzer and Strasburg, if they're healthy, and you were to sort of offload veterans and get more prospects this year, I mean, they'd be in a great position moving forward. So it's definitely a crossroads moment sort of to define who they're going to be next year. But I think they were already going to have to redefine a little bit. And with Scherzer, Strasburg, Trey Turner, Rendon, they're in a good enough position where no matter what happens, they're not going to be totally irrelevant, I don't think.
What would the local reaction be if Bryce Harper is either traded or doesn't come back, after the end of the season?
I think it's something everyone's ready for. I think trading would be abrupt. They've just never seen this team throw in the towel. So I think that would be hard for people to swallow. But I think that this city has truly been bracing for Bryce's departure for a very long time. And it's kind of weird, but I honestly think that, they're sort of over it, for lack of a better phrase. I think he's just it's never really worked. They've never won with Bryce. And I think, there's sort of a lot of drama that follows him. So, I think they're ready. It would be sad. He's one of their homegrown guys. But I think everyone's sort of ready for it and ready to move on.
Is he a great player, Chelsea?
I think he is at times. I think the thing that makes him special is that he can rise to that level at big moments and sort of has a sense of the grand stage in a way that you just don't see very often. But this year he hasn't been. He's been a good player and a very good player. It'll be interesting to see how the baseball world assesses that. I think we'll see if more people think he's good and gets a lot of money, or great and gets a historic amount of money. But I think maybe entering this year it wasn't as much of a debate, and now you're seeing people say, is he that guy? Is he elite? And I think this year you'd have to look at the numbers and say, no, he's not. He's very good. He's helpful, but he's not transcendent,
Do players migrate to him? Is he a leader? I know we throw that around and sometimes it sounds corny, but is he a Pied Piper where people sort of follow what he does, or is it more, somebody else on the team?
He's not. He's not a leader at all. Very much keeps to himself. And it's funny, we talk about this in D.C. where, he's the center of attention all the time. And I think it's unfair of people to say that a talented guy should be a leader. But Bryce is more than talented. He's a personality. He's a presence. He's make baseball fun again. And millions of money in endorsement deals. He's built himself into the face of this team. So I think that he hasn't emerged as much of a stalwart and sort of a tone setter. Has been a little bit of a disappointment for people, but he's not. He really is a quiet guy in the clubhouse. He keeps to himself. He worries about himself. He loves to go home to his family, which you can't fault a guy for. But, he's not the Pied Piper by any means. And in fact, is I think, very content to sort of slide into into his locker and be one of the guys and not be the guy who has to, answer for everything.
Chelsea, thank you for joining us. Safe travels and enjoy the rest of the season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's Chelsea Janes, covers the Nationals for the Washington Post. Yeah, I'm just curious the makeup of Bryce Harper, because he does he has the flamboyance, the flair, but are you building a team around him? And I don't know if he's a great player, because as she said, he can be a great player. Well, that doesn't make you a great player. He has the potential. He's had pockets. He's had a season or 2 seasons where he's been great. But I'm looking at, he's hitting .216, 25 homers. He's been walked 80 times. What are you going to give up for him? Is he better than Manny Machado? Now, he's more popular. I can sell him. I can sell him to a wider fan base. But is he better than Manny Machado? Machado is playing short and third. Now, if I can get those numbers at shortstop, that separates him from Bryce Harper, in my opinion. With those numbers. He just doesn't. Machado has done it in Baltimore and doesn't have the flair. He hasn't been seen, he's not endorsing products, and, you don't hear him being interviewed. Yes, Paul.
McLovin is right, though, about him not seeing pitches. He's going to lead the league in walks and intentional walks this year. He's never done that before. He's been walked a lot, but since that year in 2015 when he was the MVP, they're not giving him any pitches.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to be back.
Oh, he's not back with the Nationals?
Yeah.
I've looked at 10 lists of potential teams, and Nationals is not listed on any of them.
Wait, there's no chance the Nationals?
I'm telling you, they're the Yankees, Dodgers, Phillies, Cubs, Astros.
Well, then trade him.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
You're 5.5 out of the wild card spot. So you're close, but you're not a contender. Yeah, McLovin.
But is that just the way people write about him, though? Maybe I'm just reading, everyone loves the column, where is Bryce Harper going to go next? Maybe that's a media-driven thing.
Well, no. If you're saying that you just gave me 10 teams and the Nationals aren't on there.
They're not. I'm telling you, I've read 5 articles today, and people are not talking about the Nationals.
Well, there's teams here, the Diamondbacks, the Giants, Mariners, Indians. Then you throw in the Cubs. The Yankees are going to be in there as well. But who's going to give him a 10-year deal for $400 million?
The Yankees would.
You think?
Yeah, they're famous for exactly that move.
Man.
But haven't they pulled back a little bit in recent years on some of that and that tax thing?
But you're paying Stanton $300 million or close to it. Man,
can you imagine him with that short right porch? Oh man!
So you'd have Judge and Stanton and Bryce Harper. Come get you some.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.